بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. I am grateful to God for giving me this opportunity to be here again with you in this holy place. And since this is my first talk in this year, and I didn't have opportunity to be here when we celebrated the anniversary of Lady Fatima Zahra Salamullah Alayha, so I want to speak today about the lady. There are different aspects to her character, and what I have decided to talk about is about her truthfulness. As you know, in addition to her name, she has many titles. And these titles are significant because they are given by God or the Prophet, and they are not for any kind of formality or just a name to be given so that, for example, you can identify someone. These are the titles which are based on her character and her true nature. The one that we are going to discuss today is As-Siddiqah, the most truthful. She was one of the most truthful people. To be able to understand the significance of this title, we need to understand the significance of Sidq, or truth and truthfulness in Islam and the Quran, and then inshallah I will come back to the concept of Siddiq and Siddiqah. First of all, I would like to refer to some hadith and some ziyarat in which this title is used for the lady. We have many cases in which the lady is characterized as Siddiqah. I mentioned only few examples. These are just some samples. For example, in Dua Iftitah that we recite in the months of Ramadan, when we reach the part that we want to send salutations to the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt, we say, Allahumma salli ala aliyan amir al-mu'mineen wa wasiy rasul rabbil alameen wa salli wa ala as-siddiqat at-tahira Fatimata sayyidat an-nisa al-alamin. Oh Allah, please send your salutations to Imam Ali, the commander of the believers and the successor to the messenger of the Lord of the worlds, and to Lady Fatima. But before mentioning her name, we say As-Siddiqat at-Tahira, the one who was one of the most truthful people and who was pure, Lady Fatima, the mistress of women of the world. So the first title mentioned here for her is Siddiqah, and then Tahira, then Fatima. In ziyarah of the lady, which you find it in many books, for example, Mafatihul Janan, when you have the section on the ziyarat in Medina, after the ziyarah of the Prophet and before the ziyarah of farewell of the Prophet, we have ziyarah of Lady Fatima, which is also mentioned in Tahdhib al-Ahkam by Sheikh Tusi. We say, As-salamu alayke ayyatuha as-siddiqatu ash-shahida. This is one of the ways we address her. There are other ways, but this is one of them. As-siddiqah ash-shahida, the one who was one of the truthful or most truthful people, and also shahida, maybe meaning martyr, or maybe, which I think is more likely to mean witness, as we will explain later. In ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, we have many ziyarat for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and sometimes in ziyarat we also send salutations and salam to prophets, to members of Ahlul Bayt. So in one of the ziyarat that again it's in Tahzib al-Ahkam, we have Assalamu ala a'immat al-huda ar-rashidin, peace be to the imams of the guidance. And then we say Assalamu ala Siddiqat al-Tahira Fatimata Sayyidat al-Nisa al-Alamin. Very similar to what we have in Dua Iftitah. The same order and the same concepts. There is a hadith about the night that Imam Ali alayhi salam buried Lady Fatima. Imam Ali alayhi salam in that painful moment addressed the lady, and among the things that he mentioned to her was Sallamtuke ayyatuha as-siddiqa ila man huwa awla bika minni. Oh, the one who was truthful or most truthful, I am giving you, or I have given you, to the one who is closer to you than me, meaning your father, the Prophet. So the term that Imam Ali used in that moment is as-siddiqa, the one who is most truthful. We have also this quotation from Aisha, the wife of the Prophet. She said, "Ma ra'aytu ahadan qattu asdaqa min Fatima ghayra abiha." Other than her father, I have not seen anyone more truthful than Fatima. So this is what Aisha says about the lady. So the title of Siddiqa for lady is not a title which is unknown, or is something that some people have said. This is a very well-known title. You can find it in hadith, you can find it in ziyarat, you can find it in dua. So dua is when we talk to God, ziyarah is when we talk to Imam, and hadith is when Imam talks to us. So in all different types of these conversations, we have the term Siddiqa. So now let us see what is Sidq and what is Siddiq or Siddiqa. Normally when we hear Sidq, we think of being truthful in our speech, to tell the truth, because Sidq is opposite to Kadhb. Kadhb is to lie in common usage. So Sidq means to tell the truth. But according to Arabic and according to the Quranic usage of the term, Sidq is much more than just telling the truth. It begins with telling the truth, but it's much more than telling the truth. You know this verse which is normally recited when we refer to someone's martyrdom. مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ رِجَالٌ صَدَقُوا مَا آهَدُوا اللَّهَ عَلَيْهِ فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ وَمَا بَدَّلُوا تَبْدِيلًا. This is verse 23 of chapter 33, chapter Ahzab. God the Almighty says, among the believers are those who have been truthful to the covenant that they made with the Lord. Some of them have reached end of their life, and some of them are still waiting, and they didn't change. So it means that the promise that we have given to God to be obedient to Him and to be not following Satan, as we have in chapter Yasin, ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم. These people were loyal to this promise. They kept the promise. صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه. But what does it mean to be truthful in your promise? Maybe you say to be truthful in your promise is that when you make a promise, you mean it. So for example, if I really want to do something for you and I say it, then this is to be truthful in my promise. But no, it's much more than that. To be truthful in your promise is not just to mean it when you make the promise. It means also to try your best to keep your promise. So maybe when I am promising, I want to do it, but later I am, a bit lazy or not that determined to keep my promise. So if I say, for example, I am going to, for example, visit you next week, or I'm going to, for example, write to you, or I'm going to bring this book for you, is that enough to just say this truthfully? Maybe when I am saying this, I really want to do this, but later I forget, later I am not very careful about this. Unfortunately, sometimes, people give promises, but they don't keep the promises. Islam is very strict about keeping your promise. Even if you promise children, you have to keep your promise. So sometimes I say that it seems that there is a common mistake. People think that to give a promise is something good, and then you try to keep it. If you cannot, it's okay. At least you have made the promise and you made that person happy. But this is not the way Islam looks at this. To give a promise is not necessary. If you cannot, don't commit yourself. But as soon as you have given a promise, you must keep it. So if you want to think about it, if you want to see whether you are able or not, do all these checkings before, not after. Because when we commit ourselves, we have to keep it. Awfu bil uqud. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a covenant with us. Those who are truthful, sadaqu, they managed to remain loyal till the last moment of their life. Not just at the time of making that promise. Actually, at that time, the Quran says everyone accepted. Yeah? إذ أخذ ربك من بني آدم من ظهورهم ذريتهم وأشهدهم على أنفسهم قال ألست بربكم قالوا بلى. So everyone at that time promised, and everyone meant what he said. But that's not enough. صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه means to be 100% committed to that till you deliver. You deliver the job. You finish it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran in many places talks about sadiqeen and sidq. For example, in the next verse, just after verse 23, God says, لِيَجْزِيَ اللَّهُ الصَّادِقِينَ بِالصِّدْقِهِمْ وَيُعَذِّبَ الْمُنَافِقِينَ إِنْ شَاءَ أَوْ يَتُوبَ عَلَيْهِمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Here God refers to the end stories for two groups of people. People who were truthful and hypocrites, munafiqeen. Those who were truthful, God is going to reward them for what? بِصِدْقِهِمْ, because of their truthfulness. So truthfulness is the main reason for rewarding them. Under truthfulness then comes their prayer, their fasting, their charity, everything else, but everything under truthfulness. The opposite group are the people who were not honest. They were munafiq, they were hypocrites. Maybe they have also prayer and fasting and charity, but not out of truthfulness. So for those, God then says either He's going to punish them or He's going to forgive them. It's very good that God doesn't say definitely He's going to punish them. He says يُعَذِّبَ الْمُنَافِقِينَ, He's going to punish the hypocrites, and شَاءَ, if He wills, أَوْ يَتُوبَ عَلَيْهِمْ, or God is going to accept their repentance. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. God has always been very forgiving and very merciful. So you see, it's the question of truthfulness, honesty on one side, and dishonesty and hypocrisy on the other. And this is a very important contrast in the Quran. In the Quran, although there is a contrast between believers and those who have no faith, but it seems that in real life, in socio-political life, the main contrast is not between believers and, for example, atheists. The real contrast is between believers and the people who are not honest, the people who are hypocrites. Because those who are honestly not showing any affiliation, any love for faith, they have no problem. They don't create necessary problems. But those who are dishonest and try to do everything in disguise, these are the people who can create problems. This is why in Dua Iftitah, when we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the establishment of the government of Imam Mahdi in the end of time, which is the government of honor, we say, Allahumma inna narghabu ilayka fi dawlatin karimah. Okay? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to honor us by witnessing that government which gives honor to everyone. Then we say two things. تُعِزُّ بِهَا الْإِسْلَامَ وَأَهْلَهُ. In that time, under that government, those who are submissive to God, they would have honor and dignity. وَتُذِلُّ بِهَا النِّفَاقَ وَأَهْلَهُ. And those who are hypocrites and dishonest, they will lose their honor. There is no mention of kufr. There is no mention of disbelief. Because kufr is not a major problem. Never in the history, kufr has been as a big problem as nifaq. For kufr, you just need to shed some light. When the light comes, then kufr is very weak. But munafiq is the one that manages to hide himself even under greatest light, even next to the greatest light. If you look at munafiqeen, you will find them even sometime in the closest circles. If you go to Medina, for example, you don't find munafiqeen hundreds of miles away as kuffar. Kuffar were in Mecca, Prophet was in Medina. Where were munafiqeen? Inside Medina. Where were kuffar? Hundreds of miles away. Okay, this is a geographical distance, but also in real life. Munafiq is the one who can penetrate and go into very close circles, sometimes even can go into the mosque, can go into the family, can go to the close circles. Anyway, God says, لِيَجْزِيَ اللَّهُ الصَّادِقِينَ بِصِدْقِهِمْ وَيُعَذِّبَ الْمُنَافِقِينَ إِنْ شَاءُ يَتُوبَ عَلَيْهِمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. So God is going to reward the truthful people and may punish or may forgive the hypocrites. In Surah Ma'idah, chapter 5, verse 119, God says, قَالَ اللَّهُ هَذَا يَوْمُ يَنْفَعُ الصَّادِقِينَ صِدْقُهُمْ. This is the day that truthfulness is going to benefit those who are truthful. So you see, the focus is on truthfulness. The focus is not on actions. Actions are important, but if they are carried out under the banner of honesty and truthfulness. لهم جنات تجري من تحت الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا. They will be given access and entrance to the gardens under which rivers flow. God is pleased with them and they are pleased with God. رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ذلك الفوز العظيم. This is a great achievement. Also, in an instruction, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells all the believers that they should try to be pious and to be with those who are truthful. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ. This is chapter 9, verse 119. O those who have faith, you should be pious and be with the people who are truthful. So to be truthful is that important that God asked all the believers to be with them. And this also shows the significance of forming a community, forming a group of like-minded people. It's not just piety which is enough. In addition to having piety, you have to be in company of good people. Because if you are just pious and you are living separate from other good people, then the chance is that you may lose momentum over time. You may go to different directions. But if you are in a group of like-minded people who try to serve the truth, then you would be in a better position to be consistent and to carry on. Okay, so this is about sidq, and this is about sadiqun, those who are truthful. But the Quran tells us about another category. To be sadiq, to be truthful is great. But the Quran tells us and talks about as-siddiq, which is even greater. You know Arabic, so you know that there is a difference in Arabic between siddiq and sadiq. Sadiq means truthful, but siddiq is sighah mubalagha. Siddiq means the one who is very truthful or is always truthful. What does it mean? According to the Quran, those who are Siddiq, who are most truthful, are the people that every aspect of their lives complies with the truth. Allama Tabatabai rahmatullah alayh in Al-Mizan has a beautiful point about as-siddiqun. You know, inshallah I will mention this verse in Surah Nisa about siddiqun. Allama says, as-siddiq alladhi la yakdhibu aslan. Siddiq is the one who never tells lies. But this is just part of it. The second thing, لا يفعل إلا ما يراه حقا. He doesn't do anything except what he believes to be true and to be right. Because haqq here is not just true. Haqq is true and right. Because sometimes something can be true but not right to be said, not right to be done. For example, if someone's child has just had an accident, by car, and was killed. Okay, then I go to the mother and said, your child was killed. If I give this news, which is true news, in this surprising way, she may have heart attack. I have to prepare her. I have to be slow and find a wise way to tell her the news. So sometimes to tell something which is true can be not right if it is not done properly. So haqq here is to be true and right, to be appropriate for that particular moment, for that particular situation. So Siddiq is the one who always tells the truth. Nothing which is not true comes from him. But also he does everything which is true and right. And then Allah says, فَهُوَ يُشَاهِدُ حَقَائِقَ الْأَشْيَاءِ. So he is the one who has ability to understand the reality of the things. Because if you don't understand the reality of the things, and if your knowledge is limited about the truth, then you may make mistake. You may suffer from some kind of illusion or confusion. So Siddiq is the one who has some type of knowledge, God-given knowledge, that can see behind the things and then find the truth which is behind or maybe under, that ordinary people may not be able to see. Therefore, he commits himself to that truth. And then يَقُولُ الْحَقِّ وَيَفْعَلُ الْحَقِّ. So every aspect of this person has to be at the service of truth. This is Siddiq. Now we better understand the verse 69 of Surah Nisa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Man yuta'allaha wa rasul fa'ulaika ma'alladhina an'ama Allahu alayhim." Those who obey God and the messenger are with the people that God has bestowed his blessings upon them. You know, these are the people that we ask God in every prayer to be able to be on their path. Sirat alladhina an'amta alayhim. So who are these people that God has bestowed his blessings upon them? Min an-nabiyyin, the prophets. Was-siddiqin, those who are most truthful. Was-shuhada, witnesses. These are the people that God has in every nation. People can look at them and learn what to believe, what to do, and on the day of judgment God brings these witnesses and they will bear witness over their nation. لَنَنْزَعَنَّ مِنْ كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ شَهِيدًا وَجِئْنَا بِكَ عَلَى هَؤُلَاءِ شَهِيدًا. And finally, as-salihin, the righteous people. Who are the righteous people? The righteous people are the people who not only have faith and do righteous deeds, but they themselves have become righteous. This is much higher than آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. You can have faith and do righteous deeds, but if you keep carrying on this path, then you yourself become righteous. It's much more than just doing righteous deeds. So there are 4 categories here. At the top of humanity, the prophets, the most truthful people, witnesses, and righteous people. Of course, this concept can overlap. A person can have all 4 titles, like for example Jesus, like Moses, like Abraham. They had all these 4 titles, but some people may have 1 of them, or may have 2 of them, or 3 of them. But what is very interesting is that an-nabiyyin is a position. It's not a quality in the sense that you try to acquire. No one can try acquiring prophethood. Prophethood is a position that God gives for certain reasons. Sometimes maybe a person lives in a time that God has no plan to send any prophet. So this doesn't mean that he's a bad person. We have ulama ummati afdal min anbiya bani Israel. So to be a prophet means to have a position, a responsibility for guiding people based on the revelation that you receive. But after prophets, we don't have just a position, we have a quality, and that is Siddiq. To be Siddiq is a quality that people can try to achieve. And then we have Shuhada, again a position, and then as-salihin, again a quality. So position, quality, position, quality. So among all the qualities that human beings can achieve, it seems that these 2 qualities are the most important ones. To be as-siddiq and to be as-salih. As-siddiqun and as-salihun are the people who have the highest positions. And now you understand the significance of being Siddiq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Abraham, وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ إِنَّهُ كَانَ صَدِّيقًا نَبِيًّا. Mentioned in the book Abraham. He was one of the most truthful people and he was a prophet. So he had the quality of Siddiq and the position of Nabi. وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ إِدْرِيسَ إِنَّهُ كَانَ صَدِّيقًا نَبِيًّا. Or Joseph, يوسف أيها الصديق أفتنا في 7 بقرات عجاف يأكل 8 يأكلهن 7 عجاف. Joseph was Siddiq. Lady Mary was Siddiqa, referring to Jesus and Mary. God says وَأُمُّهُ صَدِّيقَةٌ. The mother of Jesus was one of the most truthful ladies. So on the top of humanity are those people who are Siddiq or Siddiqa. This is why then Lady Mary, who is Siddiqa, is also Sayyidatu Nisa al-Alamin, because she is the most truthful lady, so she is mistress of all women of her time. or Lady Fatima, who is Siddiqa, is Sayyidatu Nisa'il Alameen. So when we address Lady Fatima as Siddiqa, this is not something, little. It's very, very important quality. And this also is a very important instruction for us. Who can be a good follower of a person who is Siddiqa? The one who is at least Sadiq, the one who is at least truthful. If is too ambitious to try to become Siddiq, of course there is no reason why we cannot become Siddiq, but at least we should be Sadiq. At least we should be truthful, not only in what we say, in what we promise, in what we do, in our intentions, in our thoughts, in our behavior. Everything should be in compliance with truth and at the service of truth, which is more than to be in compliance with truth, because sometimes something is in compliance with truth but it's not serving the truth, it's not improving the condition. You are not telling lie, but you are not serving the truth. We have to be in compliance with truth and at the service of truth, and dedicate our energy to improve al-haq. So I end my speech with this. We pray in this holy moment near the time of the prayer of Maghrib in the holy shrine, that God the Almighty enable us to better understand great personalities that He has given us in prophets, in holy people, and to follow the example of Lady Fatima Zahra. May Allah make us all able to follow this path of truthfulness, and may Allah help us to help other people in this journey. May God bring peace and justice and security to all people of the world who suffer. May God enable us to be voices of unity and brotherhood, and may God the Almighty enable us to be that generation who would pave the way for coming of Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen.